Hello everyone. Yeah, welcome back to my vlog again. So in this vlog I want to talk about something really personal. Yeah, that's really personal for me. What is that? That's being introvert. Honestly, I think many people misunderstand what being introvert actually means. Some people think introverts are rude. Some things introvert have people, and some think introverts are always shy or antisocial. But honestly, being introvert is much deeper than that. For me, being an introvert does not mean I have socialization. It just means social interaction can become mentally exhausting after some time. I enjoy conversation, really enjoy it, and just spending time with people I feel comfortable with. But at the same time, I also need quiet moments to recharge mentally. And honestly, I did not fully understand myself when I was younger. I used to wonder why crowded places made me feel tired so quickly. Why too much interaction drained my energy? Why I enjoyed being alone sometimes while other people always want to be around groups constantly. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me, especially because society often praises people who are loud, outgoing, confident, and socially active. Meanwhile, introverts are sometimes misunderstood as boring, awkward, or too quiet. But over the time, I realized being introvert is not a weakness. It is simply a different way of experiencing the world. One thing people do not understand about introvert is that silence doesn't always mean sadness. Sometimes we are simply thinking deeply. We just enjoy observing more than speaking. And we feel comfortable quietly listening instead of constantly talking. And honestly, there are moments when I prefer like meaningful conversation with one or two people instead of being surrounded by large groups. Because deep conversation feel more genuine, emotional. Another thing about being introvert is that social energy feels limited. After spending too much time around crowds, noise, or constant interaction, I start feeling mentally tired, even if the experience was fun. And because of that, long time becomes important. Ah, long time becomes important. Not because I want to avoid people, but because quiet moments help me recharge emotionally. The most peaceful thing for me, like, is simply being alone with my thoughts, listening to music, walking quietly, and watching sunset, thinking deeply at night. And honestly, those quiet moments help me feel balanced again. I also think introverts often live more inside their own minds. Overthinking becomes common. Sometimes I replay conversation in my head for too long. Sometimes I think too deeply about someone's situation. Sometimes I stay quiet, not because I have nothing to say, but because my mind is processing too many thoughts at once. And honestly, being inside your own thoughts constantly can become exhausting too. Another thing I notice is that introverts often struggle in environments that reward constant social energy. For example, group discussion, presentations, networking, large social events, or situations where people are expected to always appear confident and expressive. And honestly, those situations can feel mentally draining. Not because introvert like secretly force themselves to act extrovert, sometimes just to fit in. Not because introverts are incapable, but because social pressure consumes energy differently for us. Talking more loudly, talking more than usual, pretending to have endless energy socially. But after returning, how? After returning, after returning, what happened? The exhaustion becomes very real. And honestly, pretending to be someone else all the times becomes tiring. I appreciate about introvert is that many of them feel emotion deeply. Introverts often notice small details, small change in behavior, small emotional shift. Sometimes introverts understand feelings deeply even if they do not always express them openly. And honestly, I think that emotional depth can become both beautiful and painful at the same time because feeling things deeply also means getting hurt deeply sometimes. Another thing that people misunderstand is thinking introverts are lonely all the time. Honestly, introvert can enjoy solitude without feeling lonely. There is a difference between loneliness and peaceful solitude. Loneliness feels emotionally empty, but solitude can actually feel calming and meaningful. Sometimes, being alone helps introverts reconnect with themselves emotionally. And honestly, I think peaceful solitude is underrated. I just realized that introverts usually value genuine relationship more than large social circles. Personally, I would rather have a few real friendship than many shallow connection, because emotional comfort matters more than social quantity. Introverts usually open up slowly, but once they trust someone deeply, they often become very loyal and emotionally sincere. Another thing about being introvert is that people sometimes assume quiet people have no confidence. Yeah, for me that's true. But honestly, silence and insecurity are not always the same thing. Some introverts are quiet simply because they do not feel the need constantly speak. Like, yeah, some people express themselves loudly and others express themselves calmly, and both are valid. That's nothing wrong. I think society sometimes pressure people to become louder versions of themselves. But honestly, not everyone needs to be extremely outgoing to have value. Quiet people also have thought, creativity, emotions, humor, and intelligence. They just express those things differently. Another thing I learned is that being introvert does not mean fighting growth. Introvert can still challenge themselves socially. They can still speak publicly, make friends, lead projects, and communicate well, but it usually requires more mental energy. And because of that, recovery time becomes important afterward. One thing I personally struggle with sometimes is social overthinking. After conversation, I sometimes replay moments repeatedly in my head. Did I sign up for? Did I say something wrong? Did I talk too little? And honestly, overthinking social interaction can become mentally exhausting, especially yeah, because introverts are often very self-aware emotionally. But over time, I slowly learned something about them. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to analyze us as much as we fear. And realizing that helped me relax socially little by little. And another thing about introvert is that many of us feel emotionally safest around calm people. People who do not force conversation, people who respect quietness, and people who make interactions feel natural instead of overwhelming. Because honestly, emotional comfort matters a lot for introverts. Sometimes one peaceful conversation feel more meaningful than hours of low social interaction. I also realized that introverts often enjoy creativity deeply, writing, music, art, photography, late night thoughts, quiet hobbies. Because creativity allows emotions and to access without needing constant social performance. And honestly, many non introverts feel must live, must live or live, how to say it, live life, yep, when expressing themselves quietly through creativity. Another thing I learned is that introversion should not become something to feel ashamed of. Like for a long time, I thought I needed to become more outgoing to fit society's expectations. But now I just realize that constantly trying to change my natural personality only made me emotionally tired. Growth is important, yes, of course, but self acceptance is important too. And honestly, accepting myself as an introvert made me feel more peaceful mentally. I stopped forcing myself to always match other people's energy. I stopped feeling guilty for needing alone time. And I stopped seeing quietness as weakness. I can do it. Introverts often listen carefully, think deeply, observe details, feel emotions sincerely. And honestly, those qualities matter too. At the end of the day, being introvert simply means experiencing energy, emotions, and social interaction differently. It does not make someone less valuable, less interesting, or less capable. People just function differently emotionally. And honestly, I think the world needs both quiet people and loud people. Because not every strange needs to be loud to be meaningful. So if you're an introvert too and sometimes feel misunderstood, I just want to say it like there is nothing wrong with being quiet, and there is nothing wrong with needing space sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with protecting your peace and energy. You do not need to become louder to deserve respect, bro. Sometimes calm people carry the deepest thought, their kindness hurts, and the stronger emotion quietly. And honestly, that is something beautiful too. Everything beautiful in this world, bro. Yeah, I swear. So maybe that's my video, my plot. So bye bye.